Welcome to our 5 on 5. We're pleased to welcome back Monte Mendenhall from Pacific Power. Monte, good to see you again.
Good to see you.
So tell us, a big storm like last week that we saw, how do you guys prepare for something like that? Can you?
Well, you can to a certain degree. We stay in touch with the National Weather Service. We get updates from them regularly. We want to understand what the frequency is going to be, if there's going to be one storm after another, that type of thing. So we monitor that closely. We want to make sure that your personnel is available, of course, so you can call them in, get them on site right away. You've got enough stores to be able to have materials on hand. Vehicles are all ready to go. And then lastly, and very importantly, you want to make sure that you can supplement your workforce by either pulling in crews from neighboring districts that may not be experiencing the storm, or contractors. And in this particular case, with the storm we had last week, we brought in 3 contract crews here in Jackson County to work specifically on this storm and restoration. We had about 16,000 customers that were impacted at the peak of the outage here in Jackson County, about 4,500 customers in Josephine County. System-wide in the 3-state area were 50,000 customers. So we were hit pretty hard by this storm.
Yeah, and how do you guys, you have a lot of little outages, maybe some are big outages. How do you guys prioritize how you're going to attack this? Because in a storm like this, of course, it's happening across the West, so you can't just pull people up from neighboring counties, correct?
Yeah, you're correct. The priority, of course, is public safety and employee safety when we go about restoration. We try to identify and assess what the damage is right away, and then we go to work on the damage. We try to isolate the areas that are damaged to try to bring customers up more quickly while we do the work and restoration work. And we kind of work from the inside out, so to speak. We want to make sure our transmission system is intact because that impacts substations and circuits. Get the substations back up, and then go to work out on the circuits. Typically what you're going to see is we're going to try to get the most bang for our buck. We're going to work on the larger areas, the urban areas, to bring most of the customers up, to bring commerce back up, critical facilities, whether it be city, county,
TV
healthcare, television station. Absolutely. I knew you were going to fall to that. And then work on the outlying areas where you might have smaller numbers of customers that require more time to actually get them back up into service. Most of the outages that we experience are tree related. Okay, and it takes a little while when you have a tree go through a line to be able to put that wire back up, replace poles and things like that.
Yeah, and can you guys just, I assume you can't just cut down trees. How does that work? You guys got to have an idea of what trees are problem areas and what could fall on a line in advance of a storm like this.
Yeah, another good point. We do go out and we have maintenance programs. We spend a tremendous amount of resource on tree trimming. But the problem is when you have a storm like this that comes through, you have a lot of trees that come from outside of the right-of-way. When you have the ground saturated, a big wind behind it, it'll take a tree down from outside the right-of-way, and that's where you'll end up with problem with outages.
Yeah, certainly saw a lot of that.
We did.
All right, very good. We're going to take a quick break. Much more with Monte in a moment. Stay with us. Welcome back to our 5 on 5. Again, we're here with Monte Mendenhall from Pacific Power, and we're just going to assume that a storm like last week isn't going to happen again next week, but what should customers do if they lose power? What steps should they take? Well,
there's some things that the customer wants to do. First and foremost, check your circuit breakers and make sure it's not something that's specific to you. Once you determine that it's not internal, it's something with service outside of the home, call our number at 888-221-7070. We have an automated system you'll go to immediately. It's updated quite frequently so you can find out what areas are impacted in the system with the outage and what the estimated time of restoration is. Again, we update that frequently. This last storm, about 2/3 of the customers that called in received information from the automated system rather than actually having to talk to a person in the business center. So it works quite well. The other thing we do is we'll call customers back if they request it and notify them that service has been restored so they'll know if they're off-site.
Okay, very good. All right, now when it comes to preparing for this type of storm, we talked about what you do. What should customers be doing, especially this time of year?
Yeah, we have this emergency kit that we recommend that customers keep on hand. You want to make sure you have a flashlight with batteries that actually work.
Yes, don't forget
That's very important. Battery-operated radio is important to have. You want to make sure that you have some non-perishable food. You want to make sure that you have blankets and bottled water, especially if you're living in a rural area where you have a pump for a source of water. You want to make sure that you have enough water on hand that you can flush toilets and do things like that.
Yeah, very important. Monte, good to see you again. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Stay with us. We'll be right back.